In the heart of the United States, an incredible tale unfolded. Tim and Robin cherished a dream, a home filled with family and a faithful canine companion. To manifest this vision, they painstakingly secured a house. Their plan was deliberate: children first, then a dog, nurturing alongside their growing family. Yet, life often springs unexpected surprises. They had planned everything. They would get married, and after a year or two try to have a baby. The 3 children were to be born about 2 years apart. That was a great plan, if it weren't for the fact that life doesn't always go our way. After their marriage, they waited a year and then tried to have a baby. But from that point on, everything went wrong. After more than a year, they realized that it would not work naturally. They had to try a whole bunch of different fertility methods, and most of them didn't work. It took a few years and a lot of money, but eventually it all paid off, and they got pregnant. They were incredibly excited when their first baby girl was born. Not only were Tim and Robin overjoyed at the arrival of their baby, their families shared their joy as well. When their daughter was about a year old, they started the process all over again. But this time, they got pregnant much faster. Unfortunately, they lost the baby soon after. The experience of losing the pregnancy was devastating, but they were determined to give their child a sibling. They had to take the plunge and try again. Again, they quickly became pregnant and everything went smoothly. It wasn't until towards the end of the pregnancy that things started to go wrong. Robin went into cramps and labor and ended up in the hospital. They tried to delay the birth as much as possible, but the baby was born much too early. It was a little girl again, and she spent some time in the neonatal intensive care unit. Luckily, she was a little fighter, and soon she was on her way home. She was a healthy and happy girl. Tim and Robin decided that they didn't want to continue expanding their family at this point. They had always hoped to have 3 children one day. However, due to the fact that they believed for a long time that they would never be able to have children, they were happy with their 2 girls. So much had happened in such a short time. They had no more energy for the next steps of their plans. They knew that getting a dog could be just as stressful as getting a new baby. The couple wanted to take some time and enjoy the moments. But after about a year, something happened that they couldn't see coming. Suddenly, Robin wasn't doing so well and was very tired. At first, they thought maybe it was the stress catching up with them. But even after a nice vacation, she didn't feel any better. Tim urged her to go to the doctor, and together they set off to get checked out. They were shocked when they got the news. She was pregnant. Robin had a baby, and this time she conceived naturally. They were over the moon, but also very excited. While doctors had warned that Robin was at higher risk of complications with this pregnancy, they were willing to take the risk. They had not expected this surprise, but they were very happy. But soon after the beginning of the pregnancy, Robin had problems. She went into labor and nearly lost the baby in the first trimester, but doctors were able to prevent it. She struggled with discomfort throughout the pregnancy. The baby seemed to be doing well on the ultrasounds, and that was the most important thing. But they were also very excited when they found out that this time they were having a small boy. As with her second child, she went into labor much too early. This time, Robin went into labor for a long time and ended up having to do an emergency C-section. Her baby was injured and partially paralyzed. He couldn't move the left side of his body at all. The doctors explained that with the help of physical therapy, he could get a little better when he was a little older. They named him Clark and gave him all the support they could get. Despite his limitations, Clark was a happy baby, and his sisters loved him. But the older he got, the more challenges he had to overcome. When he was a little baby, his limitations didn't bother him that much. But as he got older, he wanted to follow his sisters when they played. Of course, that wasn't possible. They took him to many doctors, but none of them could give them an answer. There was no medication or surgery that could help cure her little boy. It seemed like his parents would have to come to terms with the fact that he would be disabled forever. A neurologist they visited with Clark said that children do very well with animal therapy. He gave them a list of places they could visit to interact with dogs or horses. but he also said that maybe it would be better to get Clark a dog of his own. He recommended a Chow Chow or a Labrador. They didn't really think a pet could help Clark, but it got them thinking. The challenges they faced with their children had derailed their original plan, but they also wanted the children to grow up around animals. They decided to go in search of a dog for all the children. They liked the idea of getting a Labrador because they knew that these dogs are very good with children. They searched the local animal shelters for a suitable dog, and one of them actually had the perfect pet. Lucy was good with children, and both girls got used to the dog very quickly. But the dog seemed to sense that little Clark needed her company. The two quickly developed a very special bond with each other. The dog was amazingly gentle with the baby. She also understood that she had to approach the baby herself because it was not so easy for him to get to her. The baby giggled when the dog approached him and reached out his hand to touch him. But no one knew what happened next. One day, as Lucy got closer to Clark, he was laughing as usual. But suddenly both of his small arms reached up and tried to touch the dog. This was the first time he used his left arm. Slowly, the dog helped Clark get better and move more. He got up on both feet, holding on to Lucy. And he could even walk for the first time because he could balance against the dog. Tim and Robin couldn't believe it. They had worried that their little boy would always have problems due to his traumatic birth. But with the help of a very special dog, he got better every day. By the time the boy was about 4 years old, he had made a full recovery. He was able to walk with Lucy and his sisters, and Tim and Robin finally had the family they always dreamed of. It turned out very differently from what they expected, but everything turned out fine in the end.